experienced, great communicator. She does a nice job organizing the back line in front of her, and Coach Nelson and her staff are in a nice position where they have two goalkeepers that they feel very comfortable putting out there. And today it's Haven MP Taylor's turn.
For the SMU Mustangs, they certainly feel like they've got the depth advantage on Alcorn State. And you saw Ken Cabiro there, and it was tough talking to him before the game because he lost a couple players in that Tarleton State matchup on Thursday. Hard-fought 1-1 draw in Stephenville. One of those, maybe their best player, their 16-year-old redshirt freshman Grace Ambrose, not available for this one. Also, Aisha Rollins is not starting either. She's been starting all season as an attacking midfielder for Alcorn State. So it goes from tough for Alcorn State when it comes to the depth aspect of things to even more difficult. And especially on a hot day, 89 degrees at the start. The fitness of the Braves, it's going to be tested.
Coach Cabiro obviously has had an enormous challenge with, after not fielding a team last year, 20 new players on the team this year from 9 different countries. So he has spent the first 6 games mixing and matching, trying to find combinations of players that have worked well together. And then to have a couple of key players removed from that rotation only adds to his challenge. And he's been very, very pleased with the way his players have gelled together and started to develop that cohesion, that chemistry that you need. And now the experiment continues today as he tries to mix and match some of those those puzzle pieces again.
Yeah, 1-3-1 on the season, and a pretty nice result going to Tarleton State and picking up the 1-1 draw. Meanwhile, for the SMU Mustangs, this is their final non-conference game of the year. They're coming off their first conference matchup. It was on the road at Syracuse. It was also a 1-1 draw, and this is not what Alcorn needs. A player down, and it's one of their center backs, Yeridan Padilla from Columbia. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, as you see, I don't think it was anything malicious so much. She's trying to get in and knock the ball away from Nia Rose, and Rose sort of falls across her leg. Fortunately for Alcorn State, Padilla able to get up. This is the player that Coach Kabiru described as the rock in the back for us. She's the sort of the anchor that keeps everything organized and leads that wall in front of the Alcorn State goal. So fortunately for them, she's able to get up and keep playing.
Yeah, she was a JUCO Division II All-American last season at Heartland Community College and made 36 starts over 2 seasons at Heartland. So although this is her first year in Division I, certainly brings a lot of collegiate experience and even some experience as well with Peoria City in the WPSL. Claire Jones with the one touch in the direction of Liz Eddy. Not able to get it that direction, but Jones, who we highlighted off the top, is able to run it down and get it back into possession for the SMU Mustangs to set up.
And you've got a matchup today between two teams that prioritize possession over just about anything. And so it'll be interesting to see how that balance works out. Both of these coaches subscribe to the theory that if the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't score. And of course that's true. But both teams will show some patience trying to switch fields back and forth, trying to stretch out their opposition laterally to create some passing lanes, and that'll be one of the subplots within the game to watch today.
For the most part, SMU has done a better job than most teams in hanging on to the ball. They are top 8% in the country, according to First Team Analytics, in possession percentage, and then top 15% in number of passes per game as well. And additionally, SMU also top 8% of the country when in expected goals per game. Still, SMU only averaging a touch under 2 goals a matchup, and Nicole Nelson feels like her team is getting opportunities to score. They're just not always finishing, and she has a feeling that it's going to break open sooner or later for her squad.
Right, and that's what every coach wants. You want your team to create not just, I mean, obviously you want to create goals, but you want to create a number of chances. And the Mustangs are creating chances. And you're right, Coach Nelson firmly believes that sort of once they break the lid off of that thing, these goals might start to come in bunches. but she's pleased with the chances. Now she wants to see more continued risks being taken in the offensive third as her offensive players go to goal and continue firing shots from distance, from close, from different angles to try to sort of break the seal on it.
Get our first chance to see a little bit of possession for Alcorn State, and they have to turn it all the way back to the keeper, Maria Human. Now to the center back, Larissa Josa-Luma, who is really playing out of position, more of a forward, but the center back by necessity here on this team as Lydia Ungashik is able to take it away in the center circle. Ungashik, known for her defensive capability, known for being able to get in on the tackle, but also she's scoring a lot this year. She leads the team with 3 goals.
Yeah, you don't often see one of your holding midfielders as the leading scorer, but Lydia Ungashik is a player who can crank it, including from distance. You'll see her pull the trigger from 18, 20, 25 yards out, and obviously has gotten 3. But we saw in that play right there, her defensive play is really, really important. She's so critical to helping the Mustangs maintain possession in the middle third, and on that one, she was able to backtrack and just shoulder the player off the ball to regain possession for SMU.
Nieves tried to get one vertically into the box. It was knocked right back at her. And SMU will try to do it again. SMU only giving up 1 goal all season at home as Claire Jones makes a move to the middle and shifts it off for Ungashik in the direction of SMU's Nicholson, but unable to connect. Still, Mustangs able to hold the ball a lot early as Eddie tries to send Claire Jones in on an overlapping run. And sliding it into touch is the center back, Padilla.
We touched on it in the pregame. Some defenders aren't as comfortable going forward. Claire Jones is not one of them. She played up front when she was at Oregon State before transferring to SMU. So she is a player who, through the Mustangs' first 8 games now, she gets more and more comfortable coming up from her wingback spot and adding an extra body into the offensive third for the Mustangs.
The dangerous Liz Eddy with eyes on Nieves, but denied. And again, the Mustangs will be able to throw in 7 minutes into the matchup. Mustangs trying to keep the pressure on here, looking for that first big chance. They've held possession for 90% of the early portion of this matchup. Yapich on the ground in the direction of Parkhurst. That heavy first touch has it taken away. Yapich gets stuck in. So does Hummel. A good job to go find it by Sofia Lopez. She's able to turn it off to her left outside back, Viviana Sanchez.
Alcorn State doing exactly what SMU has been doing through the first 8 minutes or so, playing catch across the back, which may not seem like progressing the ball forward, but if you can make the other team chase and stretch them out laterally, then you start to open up some passing lanes through the middle third.
Onyxuma was thinking about, or rather that was Domekpour trying to think about a run up the right side. That pass up the wing, intercepted by Sydney Yapich, stepping in front of it. It's a young team for Alcorn State. Again, entirely new as they didn't even play a schedule last year. Takeaway by Sofia Lopez. Maybe a little bit of a chance for Peniston John to move it forward, but that one's a little too strong in the direction of Onyxuma, and the first chance for Haven Empey Taylor to touch it. Senior Day festivities after the match today, as SMU will be honoring 10 seniors. Sammy Nieves takes it back for the Mustangs. Tries to play it to herself. Nipped away by Josa-Luma, and then sent high and into touch by Maria Human, who started at Tarleton. And for the time that she was on the field, she did not give up a goal. She had 4 saves in the first half. Then Bame Mukime came on in the second half. Throw into Parkhurst in the corner. Drive into the box in the direction of Nieves is denied. Now Nieves does have it. Turns and rips, looking back post. And just a little bit wide. The first great chance for SMU as Sammy Nieves found herself with a little bit of space inside the box.
Yeah, nice shot by Sammy Nieves. You see Lindsay Nicholson getting the ball right back from Parkhurst and just flicks it with the outside of her foot to Nieves, and Nieves felt the defender on her back, spun to her left and cranked a quick shot across the mouth of the goal, just wide of the far corner. She did not miss by much.
Nieves had her first goal of the season against Sam Houston last week. 1 goal and 5 assists. 8 goals for her career. And on the distribution, see that Human just a little too strong into her own bench. The Mustangs will have a chance to try to break down this defense a little bit more.
Nice job by Liz Eddy, splitting a couple of defenders and keeping the ball, dropping it back to Claire Jones, who was able to initiate this switch of fields here.
Hartman trying to spring in Nieves. It's a long run, but she's got wheels. Takes it to the corner. Nieves able to find some space. Looks for Nicholson. Nicholson down low to Eddy. Turns. A dummy. Shoots and skies it. Liz Eddy gave herself a lot of room there by a simple sidestep to the right, but misses the frame.
You see the drop back to Nicholson, and this is the second time in a couple of minutes that she's found a teammate in the box. And Eddy, I think, spun away and was a little surprised that there wasn't a purple jersey right in her back pocket, so she had a second to tee it up and pulled out the pitching wedge and sent it a little high.
See that Liz Eddy, top 10 in the ACC in shots per game, and a lot of those came in one matchup against HCU a couple weeks back.
That night she was pretty much, if she was on the field, she was in range. She was firing from everywhere, and she did get a goal and had 2 or 3 others that were pretty close.
One thing to mention is there is a little bit of wind, and because this is an afternoon start, the wind's not going to die down. Normally you would see it die down as the sun goes down. But in the first afternoon start of the year, you're looking at about a 15-mile-an-hour wind cutting straight out of the south, so moving right to left across the field. So SMU has that in the first half. You've seen a couple of the Alcorn State passes impacted by the wind.
Yeah, when they're trying to drive the ball upfield and they have a strong backspin on the ball, it almost goes up like it's hit a wall and will drop down. Alcorn State got to keep over the ball, and if you're going to send long balls, keep them down and try to drive them through the wind.
Steve Lansdale, I'm John Little. Final non-conference game of the year for SMU, and the same can be said for Alcorn State. Great find in Nia Rose. Her feed in the direction of Liz Eddy is denied. Still the Mustangs able to keep the pressure on as Nicholson tries to drive it deep, but there was a handball. That left hand of Lindsay Nicholson made contact. And central referee in this one is Carlos Fernandez.
Sometimes you'll see an official wave off an inadvertent handball, but when it came off of Nicholson's own foot, Carlos Fernandez had almost no choice.
And you see Maria, I mean, she's only human. Not everybody
Really?
knows how to tie their shoes. No, it's the goalie gloves. I know that. But,
You've been saving that, haven't you?
Iridan Padilla. I only got 13 minutes in. I couldn't hold it anymore. What are center backs for, right? Well, over, under, around, and through. Now, next time, I want you to take note. Here's how you do it. Teach a man to fish, you know. But anyway.
How do you follow that?
That is a beautifully tied shoe. Well done by Miss Padilla. Hummel looking for a vertical ball to Rose. Pretty speedy, but not able to outrace that one. And it will be a goal kick for Maria Human.
And we just talked a moment ago about the strong wind coming out of the south. without that wind, Nia Rose very well might have tracked that ball down. Maura Yuma really gave it a ride, and if you can send it too far for Nia Rose, you've really put something on it, because Nia Rose can really run.
Maria Humans had an interesting season. Was a starter to begin the year, but picked up a red card against Nichols, and that was the reason that Inara Aldiano ended up playing keeper in that game. And not only did she play keeper, but Alcorn State, playing with 10 under Coach Kabiro, came back and won that game 3-1 at Nichols. I mean, talk about restarting a program and giving your team a reason to believe. That was it right there.
Right, and think about what that game showed them. I mean, we've all heard coaches talk about how winning any game is difficult and winning on the road is difficult. Now add in the fact that you've got a midfielder playing in goal, you're a player short and playing from behind. I don't care who you're playing, to rally from behind on the road when you're playing 10 against 11 and get a victory. That's the kind of victory that can be a monstrous springboard for this program going forward. It was a terrific performance by Alcorn State.
Onexuma wanted to get into the action from the striker spot, so she goes and intercepts the ball, feeds it out to Domekpour, takes it down that right side, and Zoe Parkhurst got in there, and Parkhurst evidently, she and Sydney Yapich having a little discussion out there. There will be a corner kick here for Alcorn State, and the Braves get an opportunity, as Onexuma will do the honors from out of the corner. Now the wind is blowing out. Oh, that ended up being pretty dangerous, as it was headed toward that short side post. But again, a player down for a moment, and Mariana Ruiz Montoya going to shake it off.
Yeah, good thing for Alcorn State that she's able to shake it off, but you're right, that was dangerous. She came running in onto that short corner, and I think Haven Empey Taylor might have been screened, because there were about 3 or 4 bodies between the shot and the goal, and you saw her scramble over to make sure it went wide of the right goalpost, which it did, but very dangerous chance there for Alcorn State.
Giveaway by Claire Jones. Little 1-2. Parkhurst comes from behind to try to take it away, and Haley Hartman is called for the foul. Carlos Fernandez gonna wait to see if the play developed in Alcorn State's favor or not.
Haley Hartman pleading her case. And I think she has a legitimate argument. Both players arrived at the ball at just about the same moment. And to me, that's just shoulder-to-shoulder contact.
So Zuma goes down on the play, and it will result in a restart for Alcorn State, and Aldiano will have a chance to start it. Flick off to the right and a race to the corner, and Rossetti reaches it and sends it into touch. Give her defense a chance to set back up.
You could hear her teammates picked up on our mics saying, keep it in, keep it in, keep it in. Yes, it went over the touchline to give up a throw in, but what they wanted to avoid was giving up another corner.
Go double, go now, go Liz, no turn, no foul. Over.
There's the serve in to the box, and opportunity, a double deflection, ends up just wide of Haven Empey Taylor's goal. Braves getting a few chances inside the mixer.
Yeah, for the first 10 minutes or so, the field was tilted pretty heavily in the Mustangs' favor, but you're absolutely right. The Braves have gotten forward and created some chances. They've gotten a little bit of transition through that middle third, which is so critical for every team.
Looked like it was Aldiano with the header, and she certainly made solid contact. And Rose unable to hold this one as she twists into Braves territory. Aldiano has to give ground. Really tough pass up the middle. Claire Jones intercepts. It ends up between she and Rebecca Quoba. Quoba is going to be called for a foul, the electromechanical engineering major, throwing away Claire Jones on the play. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
Throwing away?
No, electromechanical engineering.
Oh.
Yeah, I know you don't know either.
there's a reason we went into communication, right?
Exactly. Jopic getting as deep as she has all day. SMU pressing forward a bit. Looking to strike for the first time tonight. Jopic, pretty good feed. Down to Jones, tries to throw it in front. It's cleared away by Montoya, at least for now. Eddie had the best scoring opportunity about 5 minutes ago. Reverses the field to Ungashik. Nieves able to hold it. Some pretty good pressure by Alcorn State. The Braves, yes, sitting back, but then also trying to apply some ball pressure as Nicholson could not hold it along that right side.
You're right about applying pressure. Sometimes when a team is looking at an opponent with a lot of offensive threats like SMU is, you'll see a team sit back in a really, really deep defensive stance, basically trying to withstand the storm. And Alcorn State has not done that. As you mentioned a moment ago, we had some possession down in the offensive end for Alcorn State. They're trying to play the whole field and trying to win this game.
Takeaway by Nicholson. And a chance for Eddie out front. Eddie maneuvers right, takes some contact. Cleared away at least for now by Padilla. And again, some hard defending by Alcorn. As Hummel is able to keep the possession alive in the attacking third. Liz Eddy goes to work, trying to take the line. And she earns a corner as it's cleared away by Larissa Joso Luma, but she could not do it without it being a corner. Also, Natalie Peniston-John was in the area.
She was unable to get that into the middle because you could tell the Lady Braves know that number 14 is a big part of the SMU offense. As she headed to the corner flag, two defenders closed in on her quickly. Even that far out wide, they were not giving her a chance.
Nieves on the serve over Ungashik's head. Claire Jones had a foot on it. Half clearance by Peniston-John. And a chance for Nieves to serve it back in. And he knocks it down. And once again, Jopic able to save it. Jones back to Jopic. Heel flick inside. Ungashik racing. And there is Human leaping over the SMU captain to avoid the contact.
There's a lot to like on that play. Obviously, Jopic with the heel flick here, trying to connect. And then how about Human not only getting up in the air to keep her ankles in one piece, but still fielding the ball cleanly. It won't show up on the season stats for her, but that was a really nice play by Human.
2 shots apiece. Nothing's been on frame. Evenly played match so far, although SMU has had the majority of the possession. They haven't had a world's worth of chances so far, but Liz Eddy can change that in a hurry. Well defended, though, by Padilla. Been impressed with her. I mean, she's undersized for a center back, listed at 5'6", but she doesn't even look that tall, and she's defended well.
She has, and a couple of times she has run onto a ball and stopped and flicked it up in the air so she could get under it a little better to drive it upfield, which has been effective. You don't see it all that often from center backs, but she's done that a couple of times now. We'll see if that's a regular part of her arsenal going forward.
That is a foul on Darren Domekpour from Charleston, West Virginia, Washington High School. Freshman getting the start today. Again, Alcorn State without a couple of players, as Ken Cabiro told us before the match that didn't just lose Grace Ambrose in that Tarleton State matchup, but 2 other starters as well. Always a difficult situation and a tough road trip to Texas so far for the Braves.
He has got to feel a little bit snake bitten by losing Ambrose, who was such a key part of the offense. She had options to play at a lot of different places, and even at 16 years old has proven to be a really, really effective offensive weapon.
Joso Luma able to punt it away. SMU will back it up. Now, no doubt for Grace Ambrose, because she's dynamic and a versatile, a lethal threat. As Nieves turns the corner, looks to serve in, sees Eddy out front, and that bouncing ball gave Padilla enough time to clear it away. Now Hummel can't hold it for a goal kick for Alcorn.
Yeah, that was a very difficult ball to handle for Liz Eddy at the top of the box. And you mentioned a moment ago that she had 12 shots in a game earlier this year. There have been a couple of times when she's even several yards outside the box, and you can almost feel her just looking for the net, looking to pull the trigger, and she hasn't had the opportunity yet, but she's looking for it.
Liz Eddy, again, off to Parkhurst, plays it out front. Now Rose tries to send in Nieves, falls down, and SMU has had those opportunities, but it's just been a step away so far for the Mustangs as Hummel springs in. Eddy again. Is this the moment? Liz Eddy drags it in, and again, aggressive defense able to send it out, at least for now. Nicholson out wide to Liz Eddy. Eddy looking to attack, but unable to.
Lady Braves have played sort of a flat 4 across the back through the first 25 minutes, and when they're able to pinch the Mustangs out to the corners, they're defending quite effectively. But there have been a number of opportunities where SMU midfielders and even defenders have been able to send long diagonal balls into the box to find their offensive teammates running on taking runs through that box. That's where the chances have come so far, and it'll be interesting to see how the Lady Braves adjust to that, and how the Mustangs adjust if Alcorn State keeps trying to pinch SMU out to the corners and send lateral passes in from out wide.
SMU making a couple changes, you see. One at the wing as Liz Eddy comes out, and Kyle Lee, the senior from Overland Park, Kansas, is on, and also Brooke Bunton, who has been out since the North Texas game, comes on for the Mustangs. Claire Jones drives it off a defender. Kyle Lee keeps it alive, spins, looks to touch it off, not able to do it, and spills over a defender, and it's ripped away by Rebecca Quoba, at least for a moment. Quoba loses it. But it's nice to see Brooke Bunton out there. Again, her story. She decided to graduate early and enroll a full year early for the SMU Mustangs. She would have been a class of 2026 player, a 4-star player by Top Drawer Soccer. And so she's 17. She's a youngster and had been dealing with a hamstring issue since the North Texas matchup. But Nicole Nelson was very excited to see her back in practice and now back into a game.
She's a youngster, but she's a very talented youngster. Coach Nelson was talking about Brooke Bunton before the game and said she checks the boxes. She's highly technical. She has great technical skills. She's highly tactical and very athletic. She checks every box you want on a player at her position, and right away, and she immediately adds to the offense and adds to the abilities of what the Mustangs are able to do, because she can do so many things.
Hummel able to shoulder off Natalie Peniston-John. SMU able to switch it up. Claire Jones looks to get something started. Lee trying to spring in Bunton on the play. And a throw in for Alcorn State.
We talked about how both of these teams value possession and how they want to switch fields and stretch things out laterally. That's going to be critical for the Mustangs because, again, they see some lanes through that back 4 for Alcorn State. There have been a few that have been picked off, to be sure, and there have some that have gotten through and led to shots. But if they can keep switching fields left to right, they'll widen those gaps just a little bit. They'll have a little wider passing lane to get through, and that's when you can spring a Nia Rose or a Liz Eddy or a Sammy Nieves, somebody like that.
Remember, Alcorn State has not subbed yet. SMU trying to use their work rate to their advantage and their ability to substitute, as Nieves is able to play it to herself and looks to serve it in. It finds Kaya Lee. Lee unable to get to it, as it's saved by Nicholson to keep it from being fully cleared. And Ungashik is able to keep the play going, receiving it back from Nieves. Ungashik wants to center it, and it finds Lee in the box once more, but Josel Luma sends it in the air before Hartman wins a header. A lot of pressure, but Alcorn State continues to survive.
And another thing that Alcorn State has done well, when someone has gotten the ball in the box, whether it's Kaya Lee or Nia Rose or Liz Eddy, they swarm in numbers. They don't ask just one defender to go out and shut down an offensive chance. When the ball gets in the middle, you'll see 3 or 4 purple jerseys close very, very quickly.
Nieves with a long run. She is able to save it. Aldiano playing her. SMU gives it to Nicholson. Jones playing inside here in the direction of Bunton. She's unable to find it. And a long run, but Onyx Zuma, who's saved up some of that energy, is ready to advance this by herself and then wait for some teammates.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the wise play, because when Zuma got that ball and headed into the offensive third, she was going 1-on-5. Going 1-on-1 is a challenge. Going 1-on-5, odds are pretty long, so she was obviously made the right decision to wait for the reinforcements.
This ball in the direction of Bunton. Really tough to get around the 6-foot center back, Larissa Josaluma. Bunton tried to go around her to the right, to the left, thinking about sliding through her legs, maybe.
And Josaluma got her right arm up to help Bunton take a wider route around her to get to the ball. And when the whistle doesn't get blown, it was very effective.
So Nicole Nelson looking for a package that will be able to convert some of these possession opportunities into goals. It's part of this trio that will come on. We'll get Jen Jackson in for the first time, a senior for the SMU Mustangs. Hydration break, though, first in Dallas. 30 minutes in, no score.
Alcorn State has done a nice job so far, sort of holding its ground against these runs, but if SMU is able to stretch out the Lady Braves laterally, and again, to repeat what we said before, widening those passing lanes, there's enough speed and enough tactical skill up front that the Nia Roses and the Liz Eddies and the Brooke Buntons and people like that, chances will come.
SMU at the last opportunity, getting in 3, or about to bring in 3 new players, make it 4 now. And for the second time in her career, Paige Boger will be one of those. You also see Kelly Gordon coming in for Sammy Nieves. Jen Jackson is into the matchup as well to play a wing spot. And Paxton Bach in for Maura Hummel. That is Paige Boger, number 31, the 5'7" senior who only got to play once this season. Bunton looking for a direct ball, and Kaya Lee not going quite as vertical as Bunton was thinking she might.
Yeah, it looked like Kaya Lee was headed toward the corner flag. But Bunton just back in the lineup. They'll iron that out.
Human able to switch the field. The punt. And a chance for Alcorn State to throw in. 2 shots for Alcorn State. Nothing on frame so far. 3 shots for SMU. They have not been on frame either against Maria Human. That one did cross the line. Got another throw in coming for Alcorn State a little bit deeper down the line for Mariano Ruiz Montoya. Turning, Onyx Zuma. Zuma against Jackson. Back over her left shoulder, carrying through traffic. Left-footed serve, and it's headed out by Nicholson. Knocked down. And then the drive on frame by Onyx Zuma, but it was played perfectly by Haven Empey Taylor, and she's able to absorb it.
Nice job by Zuma. First to spin her way through 3 defenders and get across into the middle. And then on the follow-up to take a couple of touches and crank one, it was from distance. It was probably 23, 25 yards out. And as you said, Haven MP Taylor right there to swallow it up for SMU.
One of the youngest players on the roster for the Braves, the freshman out of Cameroon. The goal and an assist on the season. Her goal came against Northwestern State, and the helper at McNeese. While SMU has made 6 substitutions so far, Alcorn State has gone with the same 11 the entirety of the first half.
Coach Kabiro described Zuma as maybe his most resilient player, or one of them. And you talk about all the things that people have to go through in order to earn a spot on a college roster. Zuma had her visa denied twice before getting through on her 3rd attempt to get a visa coming in from Cameroon. So she not only had to beat out other players and train and get ready and develop as a player, she had to get into the country.
It really is incredible what she has been through, and the perseverance just to keep going. You get it denied once. After you get denied twice, you may not be thinking that the 3rd time's a charm, but thankfully for Zuma, she has been able to persevere and be a part of this team. One substitution in for Alcorn State. It's Michelle Lesmes-Diaz, 5'4" redshirt freshman out there at a right wing position. Blair Jones looking in the direction of Kyle Lee. By the way, with the adjustment for SMU, they put Paige Boger back at a center back spot, and they moved Sydney Yapich up to play the 6th position, or the holding midfield spot, along with Ungashik.
And Yapich is not unfamiliar with that spot. She has played in the midfield before. She transferred to SMU from Alabama. So she's certainly comfortable in that role as well, but obviously has been a huge part of the back line for the Mustangs through the first portion of the season.
Yeah, and if not for the injury to Mayu Inakawa before the season even started, that probably would have been Yapich's position primarily, is at the 6th spot. As this will be a throw-in for Alcorn State. What do you think is keeping the Braves in this right now against a team in SMU out of the ACC that would be, of course, heavily favored, and certainly, and obviously they've got a lot more depth than Alcorn State does. How have the Braves stayed in this so far?
Well, we haven't gotten to the point where the depth is really likely to rear its head. You know, midway through the second half, this may have a different look, but they have defended very well, and they are defending with 9 or 10 or 11 players. When the Mustangs have been sending these long balls forward, like we discussed a moment ago, you see 3 or 4 purple jerseys converge around the ball immediately, and once they get there, they've done a good job of playing it wide and sort of pinching the Mustangs out into the corners, where sure, theoretically you could get a shot from there, but it would be at a very difficult angle. So you pinch them out to the corners, and then when you come in the middle, they're swarming in the middle of the box. So they've moved in numbers like a big solid unit rather than just one line sitting back and trying to withstand an onslaught. They've defended well, and obviously they're going to try to keep doing it this way because it has worked so far through the first 37 minutes.
Seems to be the sign of a well-coached team for sure by Ken Kabiro.
Yeah, and Coach Nelson said, look, this team is better than you think it is. You look at Alcorn State's record coming in at 1-3-2, but she said it's a fast, athletic team and they defend well, and she was right.
Alcorn State, 1.5 goals per game this season. That actually leads the SWAC. This is the point of the season when, you know, the SWAC is playing their non-conference matchups. It's largely thought of to be one of the poorer Division I conferences out there, and that's not meant to be a slight. It's just a little bit more factual, right? And so you play against your own competition, those goal numbers start to go up. But Alcorn State has actually had more success against this non-conference competition than most of those SWAC teams have to this point in the season.
Right, and Coach Kimura referred to his team's non-conference slate as the laboratory portion of the season. He said, look, our goal is competing and winning in the SWAC. And so after today, they have a 12-day window built into the schedule so they can evaluate and determine what combinations worked and what combinations didn't work and what kind of runs and defensive stances worked, so they can get ready, because they open conference play against Grambling, which is always one of the best teams in that league.
Good job by SMU to eventually take it away. Padilla nearly got out of jail with the ball, but SMU is able to turn it and try to turn it into an offensive chance. This one on the ground in the direction of Lee, now sent back in. Brooke Bunton unable to catch up with it, but Bach moves it along to Claire Jones.
The Lady Braves have done a good job limiting the spaces into which SMU can pass. So you've seen a lot of these long balls which have been either, well, like that one, a little too tall for Jen Jackson, but some of them have been basically fastballs fired at a teammate, which are very difficult to handle, or there's a lane there, but it's a very narrow lane, and if your pass isn't really spot on with its accuracy, even if it's just a few feet away, that makes your offensive teammate have to adjust, at which point the defense can close the gap. Lady Braves have done a really nice job of limiting what the Mustangs have been able to do in the offensive end.
Good takeaway by Kyle Lee, but it did end up on the contact, out of play. Nearly able to take it away from Joso Luma right near the sideline. So on a senior day, SMU getting the seniors some run. And they'll be honoring them with a special ceremony right after the action today in Dallas. It's one of those sunbath days where, unless you really lathered on the sunscreen and you were clamoring for a tan, you were hunting for any sort of shade. No foul given here. Brooke Bunton is able to withstand the pressure. 17-year-old pops back up and finds Boger to try to initiate the offense. And that's just too strong for Paxton Bach, trying to work her way up the sideline.
And to Nicole Nelson and the SMU coaching staff, maybe the best part of that play was the fact that Bunton popped back up so quickly.
Sure.
As you said, she's missed a few games. And whenever a player's coming back from injury, you kind of hold your breath a little bit when they get either heavy contact from an opponent or when they go down awkwardly. And Bunton fell over the ball there, and got her legs tangled up a little bit, but she was able to pop right back up, and she looks fine.
Angushek able to intercept that ball up the field. Now Padilla again is in jail. Somehow she's able to get through it. I've really been impressed with Yeridan Padilla. I mean, she's a rock. She's a little rock, you know. Kind of like the capital city of Arkansas.
There you go.
She can really play.
Yeah, she may be the anchor on that defensive line, but she's not only a defensive defender.
No, not at all. She's been tasked with carrying the ball up the field a few times through pressure. Indispensable part of this Alcorn lineup, and certainly the type of player that I'd circle in the SWAC to say, hey, this might end up being your defensive player of the year right here, just with what she means to this Alcorn team, depending on how they finish the year. Onyx Zuma making her way. Is able to switch the field out left to Natalie Peniston-John. 5'9" freshman, tries to send it centrally, and it's picked off. Kyle Lee is out ahead of the pack, looking for players to join. Sees Bunton, a one-touch and aggressive pass in the direction of Gordon, who is trying to streak up the field, but Padilla is perfectly placed defensively.
Nicole Nelson described Bunton as doing a number of things so well, and she also said that for a young player, she sees the game incredibly well, and that was a perfect example of it. She saw Kelly Gordon streaking down the right side, and if Bunton had been able to chip it over a defender just a little bit more, Gordon would have been walking in one-on-one with Human.
You know, it's a great example of knowing what you're going to do with the ball before it even gets to you.
Right.
And
exactly.
that's kind of that separator between, you know, good players and great ones. That sense of, all right, before the ball even gets here, I know exactly where it's going.
Right, and it's easy to move too fast in those situations. So the ball's coming to Bunton. She sees Kelly Gordon streaking down the right side and maybe thinking, oh, she's open, she's open. And then it's easy to miss-hit the ball if you get too excited. But she was very close to springing her teammate for a one-on-one breakaway.
And again, it takes two great defenders to overtake Padilla, and Ungashik able to spring Kelly Gordon down the right side. Gordon has Jackson on the back post, and the cross is deflected for a corner kick for SMU.
If they can spring those corner runs with a little more space, then that obviously reduces the effectiveness of Alcorn State's defense against it. Then they have to sort of cluster in the middle and hope for chaos and hope for a big traffic jam in front of Human.
This feels like an important moment for both teams, but especially for Alcorn State to keep the sheet clean here at the end of the half as Kyle Lee serves it in, and the header in the direction of Ungashik, and she was the last to deflect it. A goal kick for Maria Human.
Yeah, Lydia Ungashik, who is a defensive midfielder, but she's a tall player who jumps well, and as you said, she leads the team with goals, and she is a very nice target on set pieces.
Nice job by Jen Jackson to run that one down. She had stripped it away for a moment from Mariana Ruiz Montoya, and now Bunton takes it. Bunton crosses over inside, 1v1 with the keeper, and she opens her account. Welcome back, Brooke Bunton. A natural-born offensive maestro, and the Mustangs are in front, 1-0.
That's the kind of play that Nicole Nelson has talked about. You see her run onto that ball and then splits a couple of defenders, has the composure. She knows she's got a step of space, so she has the composure to look up, sees where Human is, picks her spot, and tucks it neatly into the lower left corner of the goal. And Nicole Nelson and her staff have been looking forward to getting Bunton back in the lineup. You see why.
Brooke Bunton's first goal of her SMU career puts Mustangs out in front in Dallas. She didn't start this game, but maybe that gets things really going for SMU, as there is a player down for SMU after a simultaneous kick, and that is Paxton Bach, who tried to tangle up with a very powerful player in Natalie Peniston-John, and Bach is able to peel herself up off the ground fairly easily, thankfully.
Bach is pleading her case to stay on the field, but she's going to have to come off just for a moment. But if you're the Mustangs coaches or players, it's a great sight to see number 12 jogging to the sideline, and she's undoubtedly going to go right back to the center stripe and try to get waved back in as quickly as possible.
So it stung for a moment, but looks like Paxton Bach is going to be all right. And in any event, Libby Jennereth comes in as well for SMU. Why not?
So Jennereth comes in on the left side, and now Claire Jones will flip over to the right where Paxton Bach had been playing.
Well, only a minute left in the half, but SMU doesn't feel like they're done. Still, there is a takeaway and a chance for Padilla to try to spring her player up the middle. It's Zuma. Zuma had just a little bit of a heavy touch, and Jennereth was able to take advantage.
And Jennereth really created that. I think she slammed the ball off of Zuma.
Sure did. Ends up deflecting over for a goal kick. It certainly could have been a corner or a chance for Zuma, even if it was a 1-on-3. SMU content to play it out with a 1-0 lead. A 44th minute goal by Brooke Bunton. One save by Haven Empey Taylor. That's all she wrote for the first half. The Alcorn State Braves keep SMU off the board for almost a full 44 minutes in the first half. parts of 2 games this season. Played the opener on the road at number 10 Wake Forest, and came up with a little tweak. Missed the Northwestern State game, came back against UNT, played 10 minutes, and then tweaked it even more. So she had been out since then. 5 straight games lost and about 3 weeks of action for Brooke Bunton. 17-year-old able to heal rather quickly, get back on the field for her team, and she pays immediate dividends.
Coach Nelson and her staff have been excited about Brooke Bunton ever since she arrived on campus, and she looked more than excited to get her back into the lineup today. And she was saying, look, this player is going to change things for us because she's so versatile and does so many things so well. She was right.
This ends up being a corner for SMU early on. See where Nieves looks to go with this. Lydia Ungashik has been a target on these. So has Sydney Yapic, if you're looking for something in the air. Nieves, loading ball to the top of the 6, but good job to get there by Alcorn. Shot knocked down for Claire Jones. And Bunton able to play it out wide to Nieves to try to get another service in. Nieves dribbling in to the edge of the 18, trying to send it along. Stepping up to take it away, the Braves. Nice job by Quoba before Brooke Bunton comes up with the steal. Bunton inside to Gordon, trying to keep it moving. Center back steps up this time, Joso Luma. Nieves makes it tough on her. A lot of action here, trying to get the ball back and forth, and SMU's, one of their seniors, Maura Hummel, ends up pounding it a little bit deep. Alcorn starting lineup for the second half, the same as the first half. Good to see that they did not sustain any more injuries. They only made 1 substitution in the first half of this matchup. That was Michelle Lesmes-Diaz coming in for a few minutes at the end of the first half at a wing spot. And now SMU has Zoe Parkhurst playing the 6th spot. A run by Kelly Gordon. Nice pass up the left side. Gordon, heavy touch out in front of her though. And Padilla able to watch it go into touch for a goal kick. Gordon would love to have that one back. She looked up and just lost that ball as she tried to figure out where she was going to go with it.
And a nice job by Padilla as well to get in between the ball and Gordon, and then just sort of hit the brakes and anchor a little bit to let the ball go out of bounds, gaining that goal kick for Alcorn State.
Pressure by Brooke Bunton. Help SMU get a throw in. And Bunton is called for the handball as it nipped up on the underside of her forearm. SMU coming in at 5-2-1 and a perfect 4-0 at home. Mustangs trying to keep that unbeaten string at home going. By the way, Alcorn will have that wind in the second half, and wind seems to be even more prominent than it was in the first half, closer to 15 to 20 now than the 10 to 15 we had earlier.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Mustangs manage playing into that wind compared to how Alcorn State did it in the first half. Again, when you're facing into a stiff wind, you want to keep the ball low, you want to drive the ball, and when the opportunity is there, sort of zigzag passes across the field diagonally rather than just sending direct balls straight forward into the teeth of that wind.
There's a handball on Alcorn State. They give it to Zuma.
A little bit fortunate there for SMU because Zuma looked like she had a half a step on Yapic if she had been able to keep the possession.
Certainly leaning the right way. Now here's a 1-2, and Maura Hummel plays it in. A little too strong for Rose on what looked to be an attempt at a cross, but perhaps the pass a tick too soon for the senior from California.
You see Hummel, you see her look up. She sees either Rose or Gordon or both. And it might have been one of those situations where she was trying to decide in her head really quickly, which one do I go to, who do I aim at, and then in the process got her signals tied up and just hit the ball.
Three bodies converge on Padilla. She's able to move it along. And on the switch, Alcorn State has Ruiz Montoya with some space in the direction of Zuma, challenged by Yapic. So she goes back to Ruiz Montoya into the box and popping it in toward the goal. And Arda Aldiano not only had the first goal of her Alcorn State career against Tarleton on Thursday, she also stepped up to take a penalty kick in the first half. Was unsuccessful on it. The first penalty this season Alcorn State had taken. What a pass to Nieves. Nieves trying to split defenders. Now the defense is back. She has Hummel with some space here. Right back to Hummel. She's onside. Hummel shouldering off a player, but cannot keep it in. As Viviana Sanchez did enough in that shoulder charge against Hummel, maybe to distract her and get that ball to roll away from the senior outside back.
You were right about the pass to Nieves, though, because I think she was looking at Nieves the whole way, and Nia Rose simply ran right over the ball to let it go through. Coach Nelson has talked about wanting her team to keep taking chances in the offensive end. That's an example of creating an unorthodox look for the opposing defense to have to handle, and the Lady Braves handled it quite well.
You bet. She's talked about being more creative in the attacking third, taking chances. She didn't really say be selfish, but I think, you know, don't be afraid to show off a little bit. Do your thing. In addition to that, she also wants to see her team manage games better. And no better place to manage a game than when you're up 1-0 at home, right? This ball gets free in the direction of Zuma. Zuma tracks it down, but Hartman overtakes her and forces the corner kick. Good hustle by Haley Hartman, the transfer from LSU.
A little bit of disorganization in the back for the Mustangs to give up that run, but fantastic hustle by Haley Hartman. She chased that ball for about 50 yards and ended up being the last one to touch it. Yes, you give up the corner kick, but if she hadn't made that run and knocked the ball over the end line, we're not looking at a corner kick. We're looking at a point-blank shot against the SMU goal.
No doubt. Zuma might have thought that she was in alone, but here came Hartman. Zuma, really good ball in, but SMU was the first to it. Parker's chasing it down, and instead, it's moved along and kept alive. Getting down on the ground, Joso Luma, who's really a striker by trade, trying to get down and sidewind at it as Kelly Gordon makes an advance up the field. Tries to spring Nieves, who's offside.
Yeah, you could see Nieves sort of trying to hit the brakes and patiently wait for that ball to be played. And of course, you know, the rule is if you're onside when the ball is hit, you may be faster than the defender chasing you and you can take off and run into open space. And yes, Samantha Nieves is very, very fast, but she did get a little too eager and took a step a little early and got the flag.
There were no defenders back, though, for Alcorn State. It was the midfielder, Inara Aldiano, who was running with Sammy Nieves stride for stride. That was a great chance for SMU if they could stay onside, as is this one. A little too strong for Rose as Bunton took it away. And you just get this sense for Brooke Bunton that, you know, she knows what to do with the ball in the attacking third. She's got a great sense of how to be threatening for SMU.
Yeah, again, going back to what Coach Nelson said before the game, among her attributes, she's technically very sound and she sees the game very well. And on that play, she runs onto the ball. She sees Nia Rose in a position to make a diagonal run. And she hits a first-time pass with sort of that outside-in spin and was just a little bit too long for Nia Rose. But that kind of vision and that kind of skill is going to create more chances for the Mustangs.
Good soccer play by Zoe Parker is to create some space with her body. And get it switched. You know, one thing that might limit Brooke Bunton today, though, is a minutes restriction. This is her first game back. SMU was only planning to play her about 45 minutes. Springing pass to Claire Jones. Jones has a chance, makes a move to the edge, looking to cross, but again, just a bit of a heavy touch as she had Nieves and Nia Rose working their way into the box.
Claire Jones starts in just to freeze the defender for half a second. Very comfortable going forward, but as you said, just ran out of real estate. She was a step away from getting across into the middle for a potential scoring chance.
But for one giveaway by Alcorn State, this would be a 0-0 ball game right now. Gordon fights her way up the sideline, and Gordon is in, dancing. What a play by Kelly Gordon. Gordon tries to cross it. Gets knocked down, but she's still on it. You hear the official saying, be smart, and Gordon eventually knocked down, but it is outside the boxed area as Padilla was willing to give up that foul in that spot.
Beautiful run here. She froze the defender to get the step and then taken down, but hops up quickly. And there you see the late foot come in. It's relatively close to the goal, but at this angle, it's probably not a horrible foul because, yeah, it's basically like a short corner kick. Samantha Nieves strikes a good ball, obviously not going to shoot it from there.
Now here's Brooke Bunton crossing her way, looking for a brace. No handball. It's called inadvertent. It certainly went off of an arm for Aldiano, but SMU does not get the call inside the box as Bunton takes the foul.
All of those volunteer referees wearing the SMU jerseys tried to help Carlos Fernandez with his call.
Quick restart and marching up the left side, Sanchez. Aldiano moves it along. Gordon able to get in the way of that crossing pass as Aldiano goes down. That is not what Alcorn State needs. And you see she's appears to be grabbing a leg. Again, one of the most versatile players available in the SWAC. As, I mean, that's an
inadvertent shot, but
yeah,
that doesn't make it feel any better.
No.
If you're Alcorn State, you are hoping beyond hope that Aldiano is able to shake this off.
And maybe just be a cramp, perhaps, the way they're stretching it out.
If it's just a cramp, that's good news. They don't feel good. Anyone who's played has had cramps before, and they are very uncomfortable. They can be sort of temporarily debilitating, but from our first angle, it looked like maybe she had taken a really good shot to the ankle, and if we're looking at a cramp, that's something that can be worked out.
Yeah, this may be the best possible news for Alcorn State as a whole. And a team that only has, 20 total on the roster, but thanks to attrition, now with just 14 available today, and they've only played 12.
You can see by the look on her face, she's still quite uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. That's an enormous muscle to have seize up on you.
Yeah, but the best sign, look at that, she is walking off under her own power. Hopefully they'll be able to do some work on it, and she'll be able to get through this.
Nara Aldiano, a captain, really a big-time link in that Alcorn State chain. So calm and mature. They're going to go ahead and give her some time off the field here and see if she can work her way through it. Certainly a player that the Braves need out there if she can go. But right now there will be a substitution to make sure that Braves have 11 on the field. No wait to have a sub for Aldiano, or to be able to sub her back in later on in the match if she's able to go.
And right away, Coach Ken Kabiru runs over to check on Aldiano to see how she's feeling and probably to get a sense whether the trainers think that she'll be able to return.
Jones in the direction of Gordon. Plays it back for Ungashik, who pops it outside for Jopic. Now SMU switches. Ungashik on the ground. Hummel runs into space. Has a lot of it. Hummel 1v1, easily crosses her defender. Looks to feed it inside. Nieves running short side, and a save made by Maria Human. And a corner on the way for SMU after the springing pass.
Beautiful play by Maura Hummel.
Oh, meanwhile, Human's down. Yeah, I don't know if it was just that she had the wind knocked out of her or what. But she definitely took a ball right to the midsection. Looks like she's waving everybody off, and she's going to be able to stay in this matchup.
And anyone who's ever had the wind knocked out, it sometimes can be kind of scary because you don't feel like a broken bone or anything, but you can't breathe. And fortunately for Alcorn State, she's staying in, and she looks like she's going to be okay.
Nieves tries to play it out front. Hummel's going to catch up with it, switch it out to Jopic to get a service in. SMU trying to stay onside. Jopic, another shot. She's got options. Feeds it into the box. But Padilla slides to it and is able to clear it out to center. Really sharp play by a steady defender. Now watch out here. Good pass to Peniston John. But once more, Haley Hartman's speed wins the day on that pass from Zuma intended for her wingmate, Peniston John.
That's twice now in the last few moments that Haley Hartman has been able to hit the Jets and catch an opposing player from behind and then simply play it out, once over the end line and once playing it back to Haven Empey Taylor.
Is Nia Rose onside? She is. Rose, 3-on-3 in Bunton's direction, able to hold it up. Two players ready to check in for SMU. Includes Sarah Boniquez. This may spell the end of the day for Bunton whenever SMU makes that change, as they did not want to overwork Brooke Bunton today. Haven Empey Taylor's had to make one save. Another clean sheet for her, as she has not given up a goal this season. Taylor making her fourth start. Looking for her third shutout of the year. She also had a shutout working in the first half against Sam Houston. Last time she was on this field, Aubrey Brown came on in the second half, and Brown got victimized by a corner kick that ended up on her back post. And just like we thought, Sarah Boniquez is on for SMU, and Brooke Bunton will leave. She's eligible to come back in. We'll see if she does later on. And Maura Hummel also takes a seat as Paxton Bach comes in. A very rare substitution for Alcorn, as Darren Domekpour is back into the matchup for Sophia Lopez. If this is the last moment of the day for Brooke Bunton, and she's of course got the go-ahead goal, what did you think of her first action in about 3 weeks?
I thought it was terrific. If you're trying to put yourself in Nicole Nelson's shoes, obviously she's got the go-ahead goal, which is most important, but beyond that, she came in and she left healthy. That to me is the biggest part of it. She's battled through injury a couple of times, as we see another player down. But she is such a talented young player. the first part is just getting through games healthy. And by doing so today, assuming she feels fine tomorrow in the recovery process, maybe you can start to stretch out minutes in the games going forward. They wanted to keep her on limited minutes. They did so. They got production. And it wasn't just her goal, right? She created chances. She's a very creative passer. That showed today as well. And the longer she's able to play and the longer she's able to stretch out minutes, she's going to create a lot of chances for SMU.
You see Aldiano trying to fight through it, and she's going to have to leave again. That hamstring just continues to be prohibitive. And we're going to see Veronica Smith for the first time, a 5'10" freshman defender for Alcorn State.
That is a heartbreaker for the Lady Braves, as Aldiano does so many different things for this team. You're already down Grace Ambrose, and now for this, to add this to the injury list.
Corner kick for SMU, Paxton Bach. Japic got a solid header, but right at a defender. Japic able to turn the corner, though. She's looking for service. Japic, and able to force a throw in. Japic wants to get it started immediately, forcing the issue. Jones steps in, but Zuma able to win it, at least for now, but Jones is going to be called for her fall, for the foul here to give it to the Braves.
You know, we talked about Brooke Bunton's performance today. I think we'd be remiss if we also don't address Maura Umel, who created several chances, several nice passes into the offensive third to try to create for her teammates. She a couple times carried the ball forward and sort of froze a defender with a little shoulder dip of a fake. And then I think she's very underrated for her strength, because, you know, she's at 5'3". You look out on the field, she's one of the smaller players out there, but she shouldered opponents off the ball several times today to regain possession for the Mustangs. I thought it was a really nice game, if in fact it's over for Maura Umel.
And it may not even be how much you can squat just using your leverage correctly.
Sure,
sometimes
absolutely.
At 5'3" can work out for you. She's an athlete, no doubt about that. .27 minutes left. Serve in the direction of Nia Rose. But again, Padilla plays it well. Made a switch at center back. Veronica Smith is now one of the center backs here. Evidently, that is her position, and they need her to be able to play that. And they moved Larissa Josa Yuma up into the midfield from the center back spot, with Inora Aldiano having the issue. So here is a foul right along the edge. It's going to be from the top of the 18 pretty much, and extended out toward the sideline. Again, Paxton Bach will take it for SMU. The Mustangs look to double up their lead. Bach on the ground in the direction of Gordon, but the pass was not accurate. Zuma ends up with it. 1v4, but she's got a player joining off to her right. She never saw it. Zuma just tries a wonder strike from out top. And an easy save is made by Haven Empey Taylor. I think that Zuma saw her attacker coming up the right side just a tick too late. That was Domekpour.
Yeah, and she also had a teammate behind her on the left who I don't know if she saw at all. And Zuma's got a strong shot, but from 30, 35 yards out.
Oh, this could be trouble. Boniquez trying to play it back toward Gordon. Yet again, those center backs doing a nice job for Alcorn State in pressure situations. Parkhurst is able to play it out wide and keep possession for SMU.
We talked in the first half about how the Lady Braves were not sitting in a very deep defensive stance. Well, now that structure has sunk a little deeper. You've got about 10 back, leaving just Zuma alone up top. And she can run, but she's going to wear out if they keep asking her to make sprints into the offensive end all by herself.
wonder if Ken Kabiru right now is just trying to figure out a way. Bach is open up the right side and onside. Figure out a way to make it 1-0 till about, oh, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes left, and then maybe try a few plays moving numbers forward. See if you can get fortunate. Come out of SMU with a tie as Ungashik wings it out wide for Claire Jones. Jones, easy move into space, centers it, but in the direction of Gordon, but never fully got through to her. Veronica Smith able to clear it.
I think you're right. I mean, at the moment, it looks like they're basically trying to stand in there and withstand the onslaught. And the deeper they sit, the more it will feel like the Mustangs are coming at them in waves.
Bonaquez inside to Jones. It is offside. Rose was lurking.
I don't know. Was this offside?
Well, I don't.
You see the quick flick here.
Depending on how tight the shot is, it's going to be tough to tell.
Yeah, what we can't see is the defender on the right post in front of Nia Rose.
Correct.
And how deep she is.
So one in front of Sammy Nieves right now.
Or Nieves, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it looks like, it looks like Rose had crept in front of her and then she recovered. So I think it is a good call.
It's awfully close, though.
Yes.
And usually a good indicator of offside guilt is when none of the offensive players turn and object. And I didn't see one Mustang say anything to Carlos Fernandez.
Very true.
Because most offensive players think they're never offside.
Over the top to Gordon. You weren't fast enough.
That's very true.
Gordon stepping over to the middle and on her right foot. Shooting it in. Bonaquez can't reach it. And again, Padilla able to be very efficient with those touches in that part of the field. Bach takes it away. SMU has players trapped as Bach runs through defenders, looks to get vertical and double this lead. Off to Bonaquez. Has Rose off to her right. Bonaquez tries to get through. Here's Bach driving it from 20 yards out, but bouncing it in on goal. And Human sucks it in.
Would have been a just reward for Bach if she'd been able to sink this one.
For sure.
As you see the one-timer, because she made a wonderful run all the way through the middle third, shaking 3 or 4 defenders along the way.
Leaving some of these tired Alcorn State players on the ground in her wake.
Coach Kamiru talked about his players should be ready to play 90 minutes, but this is a hot, muggy day. And while they are in terrific shape, you do feel the conditions.
It'll be interesting to follow that program over the next 12 days to see how many days they get off for rest, how many days they actually train, how many days it's all conditioning.
They got Grambling coming up. They're not gonna. They got to get out and train. That's a heavyweight matchup in the SWAC.
Oh no, it absolutely is. Certainly hoping that her score holds up as a game winner. They're looking at it from an SMU perspective. But you got to credit Alcorn State. We've been saying it all day. This shorthanded team is within one moment from figuring out a way to tie up this ball game. See that they've moved number 19, Larissa Josa Luma, up further on the field. That's a move they've done before when they've needed goals. In fact, she came up with 2 goals in the win over Nichols. She was instrumental in that victory as they moved her up into a striker role late in that game to help pick up a couple goals and win that game 3-1.
With 21 minutes left, we're not at the point of panic yet where you just throw everybody forward, but we're getting there, and you can see Coach Kamiru is thinking along those lines.
Kabiru, an experienced guy, led Division II Salem University in West Virginia from 2017 to 2019. And he was the head coach at Division II Albany State in Georgia from 2019 to 2021. Actually, at Salem, he had a team that went 13-3-1 and led Division II in scoring offense and points per game. So he knows how to coach offense. May not quite have the players to do it at this point, as This will be called a foul. Just too much aggression by Darren Domekpour to Kabiru's dismay. But SWAC better watch out, especially when this team gets healthy.
And you hear coaches talk about how a two-goal lead is the hardest spot to be in, the hardest lead to protect.
I bet Nicole Nelson would love a 2-goal lead right now.
Yes, exactly. I mean, far be it from me to ever question anything coaches say, but every coach in the world would rather be up 2 than up 1.
Padilla getting forward to Joso Luma, and her big strike creates a huge rebound for Haven Empey Taylor, and the other center back, Padilla, making an aggressive run, was nearly there to pound it home.
And Joso Luma proved our point for us. She hits a shot from 35 or something that short hops Haven Empey Taylor, who did a nice job getting her body in front of it and then pouncing on the rebound, but there was a purple jersey lurking, and every 2-goal lead is obviously easier to protect than 1. So we are 1 shot away from being equal. Nicole Nelson and the Mustangs would love to add a second here.
Because there's an example of the risks that Alcorn State is willing to take, putting their best players who have been playing center back all game up front for a rush to try to get the equalizer. SMU has some players they can bring in off the bench, like Nicholson and Janareth with fresh legs. Nia Rose coming out as Liz Eddy comes on as well. We haven't seen Liz Eddy since her run early on in the matchup. Only one of those players could put in a lead doubling goal.
I think Liz Eddy and Libby Janareth both become interesting pieces here. Eddy being fresh and able to shoot from all over the place. One good way to take the wind out of an opposing offense is to play offense yourself and make your opponent defend. And Liz Eddy's presence in the offensive third certainly adds to the defensive responsibilities for the Lady Braves. And Libby Janareth over on the left side, very, very quick and very sudden in the way she accelerates. And again, both of them fresh legs. They're going to be running, putting in a lot of miles over the last 17 minutes here.
Now, SMU is coming off a really tough game at Syracuse. Coach Nelson said that it was a high-load game, their highest load game of the season, just as far as how much the kids had to run. As Janareth is fouled from behind. Again, it's on Doam Kapoor, and we have seen enough, evidently. Got a yellow card on the way for the freshman out of Charleston, West Virginia.
Janareth does a nice job stepping in front of her, and by doing so, she gets one arm back, which got hooked just a little bit, and by hooking that arm, it led to the takedown, and the yellow card pretty much had to come out. I don't think that one's disputable.
She certainly didn't dispute it. Parkhurst in the middle for Liz Eddy. Tries to quickly feed it in. It's kept deep by Gordon. Gordon crosses paths with Boniquez and then tries to turn the corner. And the slide tackle is going to end up in a corner for SMU. Viviana Sanchez able to stay with Kelly Gordon and make it tough for her to turn the corner.
Some of the Mustangs clearly thought that Kelly Gordon was getting her jersey tugged as she tried to turn the corner there, but not getting the whistle for it.
Donk will be responsible for this corner. Here it comes. Pretty good ball. Header on the backside post, and it goes off to the side, and we'll do it again as it was last touched. Kind of a double doink here. It looks like Joso Luma was the last to touch it. Japic got it in the air as well. Yeah, right off the back of Joso Luma.
Yeah, and Joso Luma had her back to it, but it's a good thing she was there because Japic was in perfect position to dunk that inside the left post. And Joso Luma kept this a 1-goal game.
Bach looking for another similar serve. Another good one back post. Down on the ground, miss hit. Japic got a solid header right into a spot she would love, and it is Just a narrow miss for Sammy Nieves, who seemed to top this ball. Let's see.
Yeah, Nieves, that's such a difficult ball to hit because she had to time that off the bounce. And we talk about it as trying to, you know, scoop up a short hop right off the ground. And if you hit it correctly, it looks spectacular because it often just explodes off the foot. But if you miss it by even a fraction of an inch, you get what we just saw, which is sort of a high floating curling ball that drifts up and over without a whole lot of pace.
All right, here's another chance. Joso Luma. Yapic trying to take it away, and Joso Luma using her body to crash through Yapic. Yapic takes a turnaround to look to see who the foul's on. And this one is going to go on Larissa Joso Luma, I should say. But it was those three best attacking players for Alcorn State trying to make the run again. Nicholson is able to create some space for herself, feed it up the field. Challenged by Natalie Peniston-John. Nicholson finds it again. With SMU playing with two holding midfielders right now. Certainly, possession is most of the law for the SMU Mustangs. They are hoping to salt this one away. Liz Eddy tries to play it through to Nieves. I just don't think she saw it drifting past her.
It felt like Nieves's momentum was slowing down or even shifting back the other way. So just a little crossing of the signals.
Alcorn State has more fouls in this one, 7-3. SMU has more corners, 6-2. SMU now doubling up Alcorn State in shots, 11-5. Another attack for Zuma in the direction of Joso Luma. Tries to feed it down to Padilla, and Padilla gets stepped on to create a foul in a spot where Alcorn State has a nice restart. And rather than Padilla, excuse me, this is Michelle Lesmas Diaz, another Colombian from the capital city of Bogota. Had a goal versus Troy in the season opener.
Yeah, unfortunate for her. She was trying to spin away from a defender, and in doing so took one in the ankle. But
well, I thought it was going to be a foul on SMU, but evidently not. It was just a stoppage for the injury. Make sure to be with us on Thursday night, ACC action. You're on the ACC Network Extra. SMU will be looking for that first ACC victory of the season as they take on NC State. The Wolfpack will also be in a similar spot, looking for that first postseason win of the year. Alcorn State excited to have Enara Aldiano back in after a long rest. She's been dealing with those cramping legs. And SMU also brings in a very important piece as Claire Jones comes back in. Eddy in the corner. And this one off of Eddy, so a throw in from the corner. Chance for SMU to press if they'd like, but see how aggressive they are with 12-15 left and just a one-goal lead.
Jones's return to the lineup puts Jannereth back in a more natural spot, pushing further up on the left side where she can use her creativity getting forward into the offensive end.
Good job by Lee. Get it to Eddy, but Eddy was offside. Lizzetti certainly not as prolific shooting the ball today as she has been in other games. That 12-shot match she had against HCU is actually the most shots by a single player in Division I this season in a single game. She was merciless against the Huskies in that.
If she was on the field, she was in range.
And then finally on that 12th tally, she ended up finding the goal on a corner kick.
Yeah, and that was a little ironic, right? She had strikes from all over the offensive third, and the one she ended up getting was in the middle of the chaos in front of the goal, and she was surrounded by 3, 4, 5 defenders and sort of poked it in from close range. So she ended up getting rewarded for all of her effort on the offensive end.
Viviana Sanchez is down as she's trying to cross up Kyle Lee. And they'll go ahead and stop this here. Sanchez is able to pop back up, thankfully.
Lady Braves obviously can ill afford to lose anybody at this point. And Coach Kamiru talked about the resilience and the toughness and all that, and he has seen that put to the test today.
Aldiano takes the free kick. Ball free in the box. Paxton Bach able to get rid of it, but Aldiano gets stuck right back in to keep it alive. A long attempt from out top, but coming up and cramping immediately is Mariana Ruiz Montoya. She loaded up that left calf to spring off of it and move into the right-footed shot, and it seized up immediately.
I think you're right. She immediately grabbed that left calf, and she is in a world of discomfort. One of her teammates tried to stretch it out for her, and now she's trying to do it. And now she's up and trying to run it off. She wants to stay in the game, but with the trainer out there, I don't think she's going to be able to. Is she going to make the trainer chase her?
It's not something you normally see.
At this point, it's really not and yeah, and she's, I mean, good for her. You see her trying to run it off now. So they'll get her some water and try to see if they can work some of that out of there.
She's normally a 90-minute type player. She's played 90 in most of her games this season. This is her 6th start in 7 appearances for Alcorn State. Braves have played one of the most gutsy games of the season, forcing SMU to work hard at home on Senior Day. This one does stay in for Paxton Bach. That one does not, though. 10 minutes left for Alcorn State to try to pick up an equalizer. To move forward with a little bit more force. Zuma is open. Aldiano plays it in the middle. And Josa Luma out wide for Domekpour joining. She goes ahead and takes the shot. It does get through. Haven Empey Taylor. It wasn't going to go in as it comes off of the goal there, and it drifts wide off the post, but it does end up in a corner kick.
I guarantee you Haven Empey Taylor stopped breathing for just a second there when that ball skipped through, because she knew, she had to know if she wasn't in front of that goalpost, she was awfully close. And when a ball skips through, you just assume the worst sometimes. I'm assuming she's caught her breath by now.
Ready to defend the goal now. This in-swinging serve with the wind blowing in at least 15. You see the wind even blowing the ball off the point.
Yeah, you see the corner flag rippling right by it.
It's going to be a moving ball as it's hit here. Kind of a miss hit. And another chance to serve it back in for Zuma. High in the air, Empey Taylor measures it over the head of Josa Luma, fighting her off and defending her frame.
Fighting her off is right, and Josa Luma, big 6 foot, I guess she's not a defender now. She's crept forward into the offensive third, but a big target who's certainly can obstruct vision and strong enough to hold her ground. We saw Haven Empey Taylor get her hands out and just hold her space a little bit, and then sort of fell backward like a, I don't know, like an outfielder in front of the outfield fence. Nice play by Empey Taylor.
Can you imagine stumbling back into the goal in that situation? Falling back into the, past the goal line?
Actually, yes, I can. From a very young age, I have a rather awkward memory about that, but yes.
Now, obviously, MP Taylor's been doing this a long time. Gatorade Player of the Year in Utah. She knows where she is on the pitch, but and some nervous moments as SMU tries to come up with an opportunity. Nicholson feeds it out, and again, Liz Eddy a little over aggressive.
So think about MP Taylor's last 2 minutes. She had a shot from distance that went through her hands, trickled through her legs, and hit the goal post behind her, meaning it was inches away from an equalizing goal. And then there was the corner here where she had to go up and fight through Jozaluma and make a falling catch at the back of the end zone, basically. Pretty eventful couple of moments, but most importantly, that number on the scoreboard is still a 0.
Good strong throw by Veronica Smith. Gets over the top of the pressure. 6.5 minutes left. SMU trying to salt away for a difficult senior day win. Thankful for a little bit of filtered sunshine instead of the full beat down here. The high clouds overhead. 6:15 to go. Pass in the direction of Bach, looking to go win one from Padilla. Padilla goes back to scoop it up, but she's doubled. Feeds it away and out of pressure, and she was attacked by Paxton Bach and Liz Eddy.
Exactly, and one way to protect a lead is to apply pressure to the opposing defense, and that's exactly what the Mustangs did.
Now into the 18, Eddy goes down, and she's not able to hold it on the goal line. Additionally, SMU would have loved to see a foul call there, a penalty opportunity. Carlos Fernandez, both ways, has let a lot go, including the goal for SMU being a contested one at that by Alcorn State, feeling the tackle by Jen Jackson back in the 44th minute was unfair.
You're absolutely right that both teams were trying to plead their case to Carlos Fernandez. The Mustangs thought that that there was a foul that was uncalled, and then the Lady Braves were convinced that Eddy had fallen on the ball hands first, and they wanted a free kick the other way. As you said, Fernandez has let a lot go today.
Trying to let the players decide it. Under 5 minutes left. Chance for a few more aggressive moves by Alcorn State to try to find the equalizer. They forced Haven MP Taylor to make 4 saves, which is a career high for her. Still has the clean sheet this season. Bad bounce, and it ends up at the SMU feet. Kyle Lee unable to get it to Liz Eddy as Padilla steps up to it again. Padilla just has excellent instincts, able to take it back, and she is looking for an advancement. Padilla's going to get it right back again, but unable to hold it. And Hartman sees some space out in front, finds Liz Eddy. Will she go to goal or the corner? Liz Eddy headed toward the goal, rips it, and cranks it wide.
Rips is right. Liz Eddy gets into the offensive third, and it's her against 4 purple jerseys. And she gets a step. You see her look up and absolutely drills it from about 14 yards out and ends up in the top of the netting. Again, she may have the strongest shot on the team, and she gave it a ride there.
Another 30 seconds roll off while Alcorn State recollects themselves. You have a throw in here. Coming up after the game, we'll chat with our player of the match. 3 minutes left. Nice job by Zuma to get stuck in, but Jopic is able to fend her off in a difficult position. Striker moves it along to Jones, who walks it up to Jannereth, left wing. 2:50 to go now, and Jannereth spilled along the sideline. A free kick for SMU.
We talked when Jannereth came into the lineup about how she's quick, and in particular, she accelerates so quickly. She goes 0 to 60 in just a couple of steps, and we saw it there. she's able to hit the jets and leave a defender behind. She may not be the fastest pure sprinter on the field, although she's one of them. But that acceleration is really pretty remarkable.
Precious time feathering off the clock. Now Bach is ready to go with this free kick. 16 yards off the goal line. Angled out right from the perspective of the keeper. Bach trying to curl it in near post and right at Maria Human. It's been pretty much perfect. Now Alcorn State trying to drive it deep, but with Haven MP Taylor reaching it, it's not exactly what Alcorn State wanted. Would have loved for it to go out deep and be able to set up some pressure, but not now. It's Yapich and Hartman play pitch and catch with Haven MP Taylor. Joso Luma lurking. 1:20 to go. Yapich way up the field. And more than anything, will help run some time here in Dallas with 1:10 to play.
Right now, the Mustangs' biggest ally is that clock on the scoreboard in front of Moody Coliseum, as we're down to a minute remaining in this game.
Alcorn State is a well-coached team. They're going to be tough to beat during conference play.
They really are. And when they get most of their players back, hopefully Adiano comes back full strength soon. Obviously, we don't know the extent for Grace Ambrose. They'd love to have her back when they can get her. But this is a scrappy, fast, aggressive team that sat into a very structured defensive alignment and held this Mustang team at bay. Coach Kamiru has to be thrilled.
Lizzetti will be able to dribble off the rest of this game, but she's not satisfied with that. Cutting it back against Padilla and looking for a shot. Padilla's not giving up, and that's the game. An exhausting afternoon. That says it all.